the hustle stories and like I did this and did this. Like I think it's all bullshit. Like this is the real game of business is a game of straight up patience and persistence.
Welcome to The Visionary Entrepreneur. My name is Dane Dunlap.
And I'm Nicholas Genovese.
This is a podcast where we interview entrepreneurs about their story and visions for the future. We're here to create a space to network and to learn from each other's experiences. Hey guys, welcome back to The Visionary Entrepreneur. Today we have Ryan Alovis with us, and he is a serial entrepreneur. He started so many different companies. Right out of college, started a bunch of companies, but his most successful one right out of college was Magazine Discount Center, which was the #1 online retailer of magazines. And then he actually ended up selling that to Time Inc., which was a huge, huge success. He went on to start a bunch of different companies. He started Go Answer 24/7, which is a full contact service center. He started Pulse Health most recently, which is they provide cloud-based solutions for pharmaceutical companies to connect better with their patients and their physicians. And then he also acquired Lens Direct, which provides contact lens. They're a retailer for contact lenses, and he increased their sales by 13,000%, which is pretty remarkable. So he has a ton of experience and has started so many different companies, and he still operates a lot of them, which is incredible. So thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. By the way, like best description opener, period. Like I should just like drop the mic and walk away. That was good. Well done.
Yeah, I mean it's not too hard to introduce a guest like yourself because you've done so much. So it's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
So right out of college, I know you were involved, with the nightlife industry a little bit and did some stuff like that. But then you went on to do Magazine Discount Center, which obviously was really successful for you. But I mean, starting out, it must not have been easy to develop those partnerships with the magazines, not really having that much reputability. I mean, you were really young. How do you do that? How do you develop those partnerships without having that kind of reputability?
Yeah, so well, the nightlife business for me, it definitely, I would say it matured me fast. It kind of positioned me to act and operate beyond my years. So like when you're 18, 19, 20 years old and you're dealing with nightclub owners and you're putting together the staffs and different pieces of that puzzle, I think you're forced to mature and like learn really how to speak and manage people and teams and different concepts. When it comes to the magazine business, that was really just a very interesting opportunity. I didn't want to stay in nightlife. This was like 2005, 2006. I was good at nightlife, but I knew that, come 2020, I wanted to be a human. And like, not to say you can't be in nightlife, but it's a small pool of people that have made that transition from nightlife to real business owner operator with infrastructure. So 2005, 2006, through my family actually, because they've been in the call center space for many years, I had this opportunity to really build a destination online for magazine subscriptions, which is the least sexy business you could do as like a young person starting out after college. But I was super naive in a way, and like I didn't even think about like what the future looks like. I think a lot more people today are thinking about that future, the exit, the raise, and like that wasn't even part of my process. It was more like, cool, that's a good idea, I'll do it. So in 2005, 2006, it was so daunting. Now in 2020, you could really flip a switch arguably and be in business via Shopify or Square, and even to build relationships with manufacturers overseas, it's much easier today, just the way to communicate.
Right.
I was Skyping at 2 a.m. with developers in India. And that was my only way to communicate with them. So I was really fortunate in 2006. I had this great partnership with a company called Synapse, which actually went on to buy the business and their subsidiary of Time Inc. And I will say that the great success of that business, it did take years for it to even have an iota of success. But what made it successful was because we had a great partner in Synapse. There's no way, or at least there is a way, but a very small way, that I would have been able to replicate that success if I had gone knocking on publishers' doors to say, hey, I want to sell your magazine on my website. Synapse was my bridge, my connection. They did all of the back end heavy lifting, and all I really had to do, it sounds simple now, was build this storefront. So those partnerships, that we're talking about, they weren't so necessary then. I was really lucky to have a great partner in the back end on it.
So you would say trying to establish a really solid base, maybe an anchor partnership that helps you kind of establish and branch your way out.
Yeah, I mean, especially to start, like, find the group that's going to help you build your business. I would not have been able to do it without the right partner. And that echoes today. If you're an e-commerce and, you need to find the right drop ship partner, you need to find the right manufacturer. The point is really, just because you may make a little bit more money or do this in the short term, does it really help in the long term? And I am from the school now where I would rather find the right partner to build on and grow a business with. And I think that's so critical now and forever.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so basically you used your meta skills that you acquired in the nightlife industry and found the right partner to then grow it into a really successful business. And our next question is, what do you think is more important, the industry or the management team that you work with in the e-commerce space? Because a lot of people advised us to find the right niche, and if you can't find that, you're sort of out of luck.
Right. Well, so they're both really important things, right? Pick the right product and have the right management team. Those are, that's total bliss. That's somewhat challenging. We look at business on a day-to-day basis on conversion points, right? How do you adjust something that's going to give you a little bit of that edge? Is it changing a color from red to blue, from blue to yellow? Is it from moving that picture to the left side of the screen or the right side of the screen? That's the same exact thing that we're talking about. It's in our lives, whether personally or professionally, it's all these conversion points. And can you pull levers to put yourself in a better position? So the right product, so important in the right industry, right? High margin. Is it for the masses, right? Or can you easily target the audience that's going to buy it? And then the right management team. I have seen the best management teams build great businesses with the worst product. And I've seen the best product have the worst management teams and it be complete failures. I will always defer and default to the right people and the right team. Always. Like, I'll put my crew against anyone else in any business, and I think we'll win. And that game of conversion points, that's how you need to look at it. Understand the market, understand your team, and then go at it. But don't do it too much. I know this is like the silliest and most like counterproductive advice. I really do feel like my success to a degree is been because I haven't micromanaged the process. I haven't stared it down and watched every decimal point. Oh, what does that look like in 2040? I'm definitely more of the school where I'm like, that seems like a cool product and a good business. All right, team, let's go kick the shit out of it. I mean, honestly, that's where my head's at.
Yeah.
But they're both so important. You can't knock either one.
Okay. So you said you need to know how the market works and that different, because you operate in a bunch of different niches. How much do you need to know whether or not it's a good idea? How much of the market, like how deep do you have to go to realize that?
So I don't think that deep. I really don't. I think we're all really smart people, or maybe I'm giving too much credit to the masses. We're probably all not that smart, but we're smart enough. Like, you could look around and go, that seems like a good product. That group would buy it. Ask 20 of your friends and say, what do you guys think of this? You have to remember, guys, like, we're living now in this age where information is really in front of you. Like, your data points are there. You could look at Facebook and Instagram, and you can look and understand on page search what the audience looks like, what that AOV is. When I was starting out, I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't go on Google and type in how big is, this market, or, what is the revenue of this competitor and where are they getting most of their keywords. That data point, those things really were not readily available. There has to be a level of education. Like, I know what we love now, right? Like, and we've always known, to a degree, we love subscription businesses, right? We love consumer product, of course. We love continuity. We love recurring revenue. So whether that's SaaS, or whether that's contact lenses, or whether that's magazine subscriptions or monthly answering services, that's what we gravitate towards. So would I recommend to anybody that you go into a business that sells a single serve product to one person and maybe you don't hear from them again? I would advise against that. That's not the business that I see myself or anyone. I wouldn't want people to go down that hard road. Find a business where you could effectively buy a customer, and with the good service, you keep them. That's, to me, the holy grail of business. That subscription model, and building a brand and a business around that.
I mean, I agree. I think that's contrary to actually what a lot of people think nowadays. I think I've heard from people, you have to be an expert in what you do. Don't be a generalist. Everyone's going to school and being more focused. But I think I agree with you that once you have the model, once you have the team, you can apply it to what you're, the general thing that you're good at, which whether it's business or something else. I agree. But you mentioned how important and critical it is to build a team. For you, what were the attributes of your successful team, and how did you build that?
Yeah. So my team, my group that was really built upon was marketing and development, right? I mean, I didn't know that world. I still really don't. Like, if I have a dialogue with someone, I could spit out the things that matter, like how we're built and the technology and the framework. And even on the marketing side, I can talk to it. Where we're getting the business, the ROAS, the CPA, where we're seeing most of our traffic come from. But surround yourself with the people that matter most for your business. The two things that mattered the most for our business were, how do we build the product and the website, and how do we get people to go to the website and buy something?
Right.
I still feel that to be true, although many years ago that was different. Now you could go on Shopify, find someone on Upwork, find a graphic designer there, find a 3PL for drop ship, and you're effectively in business. But my great truths are also contrary to what is sort of like readily available today. Like, we don't outsource a lot of things. Like, we do everything in-house, marketing, dev, like, we own it in our four walls. Every time that I've personally outsourced something, it has not worked. And, that's different from today's perspective. Today's perspective is, I work from home. My entire office is in a different city, in a different state, all over the world. And we're all doing these little things. So that's sort of like my touch and feel of the game.
But your approach is more personal. I think we just spoke to a freelancing expert. He was the top rated seller on Fiverr, so he was one of those kind of outsourcers. So obviously he had a different approach, but I think that your approach provides a more personal solution, and I think more hands-on. I think the thing that really sticks out to me is you've started countless businesses, and you always hear from entrepreneurs, at first it's so hard, you're trying, you're failing. Do you ever get to the point where you're like, all right, I've developed a formula, I have a good team, now we can just apply it to whatever business comes? Does it get easier as you go and you start, founding more businesses?
So I think we think it gets easier. I could tell you maybe it does, but it's really hard. Building a business is so hard. Building a good business is one of the hardest things I've actually have ever done. And when we sold the magazine business, I sort of felt, I'm like, I did it. I could do it again and again and again. And it was really hard to replicate that type of success. And I know there's this great notch on the belt, like, I built this company and sold it. I don't believe in the glory of selling. The exit came to me for Magazine Discount Center. Time Inc. It made sense. The partnership was there already. So that was the right exit at the right time. But I don't force feed the exit. I think we build businesses, and to kind of go back to your question, it definitely gets easier because you have certain things at your disposal, right? Graphic design, tech, marketing, customer care. You have those things, so maybe you're not starting out at zero and going to the first base. You're going from first base to second base instead. But yeah, I just want to reinforce, like, building a company in a really good business is wildly challenging, even with the right resources at play.
So, in terms of finding the right team, how much do you value the right skill set versus the right mindset? Like, if somebody has the right mindset, do you believe that even though he's not a marketing specialist, he can become one? Or do you look at how much you look at their CV, for example, their
So
resume?
yeah, so okay, well, that's a different question. So we, or the way that I do it, I look at resume. I'll look at someone's resume, and I'm like, okay, cool, like, check, check, check. But I will take that resume and I'll use it only as a conversation point, and for the most part, I disregard it. I will put my eggs in the basket with someone that is tenacious. I can tell they're bright. I feel good about it. Resume does not matter as much to me as probably other companies and other people, and it has at times served me very right, and at times served me wrong. But for the most part, it served me way more right than wrong. Give me your hardworking, smart, good person that has that in their soul, than the person that has this, like, beautifully printed, spaced out, colorful resume with all the checks and and boxes. Everything's looking gorgeous. People, it's much more important than that pedigree. I think that the person matters more than the pedigree.
I agree for sure. You mentioned exits when you're talking, and obviously you've sold one of your companies, but you're still operating a good amount of companies. What do you think about the mindset of starting a company just to have a quick exit, or having a company for the long run and really thinking, I'm going to manage this, I'm going to treat this as my baby, and I'm going to keep it going? Is there a difference in that mindset?
So I've never had the mindset on the first
Right,
component.
right,
There's not one part of me that's building to sell fast. I don't ever think like that. I think people that do think like that, like, all right, let's do the tally in 10 years. Tell me how many companies they've sold. You know, you're like, I guess, is it cool to build a company and sell it for bottom dollar fast because you just want to sell fast? That, to me, that's not super cool. The the approach and mindset of building a business for the long haul, it's just patience. Like, it's patience, and shitty thing to say, but it's almost a lot of sadness. Like, it's super lonely and it's super hard, and you have to have the stomach for it. It takes time. You don't just, like, turn something on and it works. Especially if you want to build a really good business that's built for the long haul. And I mean a business that grows year over year. It's healthy. It's actually profitable. Like, now I see everyone's, like, pumped about companies that actually make a profit. So, like, maybe I'm cool right now, because that's what matters to us as a business. Like, are we building a product that people love? Is it a business that's growing? Are they sticking around, the customers and clients? And is it actually profitable? So we may not have that explosive growth like other companies. I have been in situations where I've seen it, but that was never the intention.
right.
It was really long and patient and methodical.
I mean, a lot of people are actually impatient, I feel like, in our day and age. They just want to make that quick buck, and they don't want to put in years of effort. It's like, oh, let me come up with a great idea and sell it in a year or two, and that's it. I think that's our society more so.
I mean, we're conditioned that way, and it's really sad. And it's the generation after me, actually, because I'm 37. I guess I'm, like, the oldest millennial, but, like, I couldn't classify or put myself in a different bucket if I tried. There, we're trained now. I mean, like, at any moment, like, you go on Instagram, right, or Snapchat or TikTok, right, and all you see are the hustle stories and like I did this and did this. Like I think it's all bullshit. Like this is the real game of business is a game of straight up patience and persistence.
Yeah.
And I kind of compare it to like life and love. It's true, right? Like you meet a girl or you meet someone you really care about, and like the fireworks are there. But once the fireworks end, because it does end, right?
Yeah.
Do you have the foundation and the patience to make it amazing the whole way through? Just not like this firework bonanza the first X amount of time. Because trust me, fireworks fade. You gotta really have something to stand on.
It was similar. I mean, your whole story reminds me very much of mine and Dane's college tennis career. That unless your heart's in it, unless your mind's in it, and you're fully engaged, it makes no sense to continue. And at first, we went through incredible hardship. We didn't win matches. Dane was injured. We went through some really horrible times, as you know, during our college career. But then I started coaching the team, and Dane started winning a lot of matches. And you know, like as you said, with recruiting the right people who care, not necessarily the best player, but people who actually care, and continuous work. We ended up like 20 in the country before Corona.
That's fantastic.
So
You should be so proud of yourself. Like
yeah,
that's incredible. That's so
yeah.
incredible. So
So
it's that's great.
it just reflected completely to our tennis career, your entire story so far.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, just
something,
don't build to if you build if you, this is another thing. Like I honestly feel if you start a business to just make money, you're not going to build a business that makes money. I really feel that way.
yeah,
We don't start companies because we're going to get rich. Obviously, we want to make it successful, but that's not what we're starting. That's not like the start point for us. It never
yeah.
has.
It was really funny because Tate and I are thinking about starting an e-commerce business, and we talk to different people. We're trying to find the right people to deal with, and some of the people were like, your idea doesn't work. Your idea is not specified enough. You know, the only way to make money is to sort of find this super specialized niche, and you can just make $3 per sale or $4 per sale and sell soaps or whatever.
Yeah.
Some product that we don't believe in. We don't think the idea is good, but it's because no one else is selling it. And for me and Dane, we don't believe. I mean, we don't believe in that attitude. Sort of like, oh yeah, I can make a couple $1,000s a month, and then yeah, screw that drop shipping business.
Yeah, I started an Indian soap drop shipping business, and 4 months later sold it for $1 million and doing something else. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's true. And whoever gave you or said that to you, like, what the hell do they know? Like
Right.
half the time, like the people that tell me anything about business, like don't do that or do this. Like, I mean, everyone's so entitled to their opinion, of course. Like, but what have you done? Or if you find like there are companies that are the great businesses of the world, and you know the people that started they have no experience and they did a fantastic job because they cared and they took the time and they were patient and they made the right moves. So, you know, advice is cool, but advice is exactly what it's supposed to be.
yeah. So talking about advice, as an I mean, you have other businesses too, but you're specialized in e-commerce as well. Where do you see the future of e-commerce? Because so far, everybody's looking for that one product that is not sold on the internet yet.
Yeah. So yeah, this is what I said to you earlier. If I had the answer for the future of e-commerce, I mean, I'd be doing this podcast from my yacht. So like we kind of look at what's been coming around and what's been going, right? Like direct to consumer was that's DTC. Oh my God. Like you could wake up with a nightmare screaming DTC, and even SaaS. Between DTC and SaaS, you could probably wake up screaming in a cold sweat.
Yeah.
I think the future is, a lot of it is, you have access to these manufacturers more than ever, and it's amazing. And I see a lot of it going to personalization, right? Like buying the things that you would wear and you would do, and only you are going to wear that. So like the world of like mass marketed is gone, or at least on its way out. Like one size fits all business is really not something that I see, rocking. I think I can kind of echo what we're all kind of seeing, is that storytelling and like having that connection with the brand. So, I don't think what I'm saying is going to be so groundbreaking, but it's the age of personalization, and it's the age of storytelling. And like these CEOs kind of like owning the story and being front and center. I also think that kind of the grass is cut, right? Like what Jay-Z said, it, grass is cut, the snakes will show. I think the grass is cut. Like we're seeing now, like even these DTC companies that everyone was, holding up a candle to and going nuts, they're not making it. They're not profitable. They're spending way too much to acquire customers. And I think we're just going to continue seeing, well, first of all, you're definitely going to continue seeing a lot more people selling their own goods, whether it's on Amazon or Etsy or Walmart. And what actually you could almost envision happening, and I'd like for you to mark this moment, what we have seen in the United States of America from a small business perspective on the brick and mortar side, you're going to see the same thing on the e-com side. Mm-hmm. Kids are going to grow up with their mom and dad having their own little e-com site instead of their own store on Main Street. And that's where we're headed.
Okay.
That's a super insightful answer. I agree 100%. I think that now is the time where we're going to start seeing different types of trends, because we've seen a lot of similar stuff over the last like 10 years. But I think now it's going to be the next shift, especially with Corona going on. I have no idea where it's going to go, but I think now it's going to turn directions.
Oh my God. Corona has amplified this entire movement from, brick to digital. And, we've seen it firsthand with all of our businesses. And we're really grateful and thankful to have been, on the positive end of this horrible situation. But yeah, it's amplified. There's a wave of digital that is so intense and aggressive, even more so than what it was. And you have to now position yourselves to be in that game and kind of sell your product and figure out how to like pull your levers to be successful. It shouldn't be that challenging these days. It really can't be.
Okay.
Well, we really appreciate all the time. You've given us some great advice, some great answers. Everything you said is awesome. So we really appreciate you.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.